My husband's work wife sent him a message. And it started with, "Good morning, love." Hi, everyone. Before we get into today's video, I need your help. We've noticed that the channel's reach has been dropping a bit, and one of the best ways you can support us is by subscribing. It's quick, free, and helps us keep bringing you new and interesting stories. Your support means the world to us, and together we can grow this channel. Thank you so much. Now let's get to today's story. I'm writing from a temporary account for obvious reasons, and I've changed some details to protect my anonymity. I never thought I'd be the kind of woman who checks her husband's phone. I always prided myself on being secure, trusting, the kind of partner who gave freedom instead of suffocating with jealousy. I used to roll my eyes at friends who tracked their husband's locations or demanded to see text messages. That wasn't love. I'd think smugly. That was insecurity masquerading as care. But here's what I've learned. Sometimes the most secure woman in the world can be blindsided. Sometimes trust isn't wisdom. Sometimes it's just willful blindness dressed up in prettier clothes. My name is Emma, and this is the story of how 3 words on a phone screen destroyed everything I thought I knew about my marriage. Let me take you back to the beginning, because that's the only way any of this makes sense. I met Marcus 7 years ago at a professional networking event. I know that sounds unromantic, but it was actually perfect for us. We were both young professionals trying to make our mark in the corporate world, both ambitious and driven and maybe just a little bit lonely in a city that felt too big and too indifferent. He was in marketing at a tech startup. I was in HR at a mid-sized consulting firm. We started talking about work-life balance, laughed about the absurdity of that phrase in our industries, and exchanged business cards that sat on our desks for 3 days before he finally called me. Our first date was at a wine bar downtown. We talked for 4 hours straight about our careers, our dreams, our families back home in different states. He told me about growing up with 2 sisters who made him tough enough to handle any woman. I told him about my parents' divorce and how it made me believe that love was only real if you chose it every single day. He said he wanted to be someone who chose me every single day. I believed him. We were married 18 months later in a small ceremony at a vineyard upstate. His sisters were my bridesmaids because I'd grown so close to them. My mother cried through the entire ceremony. Marcus's vows were so beautiful that even the photographer got teary. He promised to support my dreams the way I supported his, to be my partner in everything, to never let work come between us, to love me even when I was difficult to love. I promised the same things back. For 5 years, we were happy. Really, genuinely happy. We had our struggles like any couple, arguments about whose turn it was to clean the bathroom or why he always forgot to call his mother back. But underneath it all was this foundation of trust and respect and genuine affection. I loved watching him get ready for work in the mornings, the careful way he'd knot his tie and check his reflection. I loved how he'd bring me coffee in bed on weekends and read the news out loud while I was still half asleep. I loved that after long days we'd collapse on the couch together and just exist in comfortable silence. He was my person. I was his. That's what we always said. About 2 years ago, Marcus got promoted. He moved from a mid-level marketing position to senior account director, which meant more responsibility, more travel, and more hours at the office. I was thrilled for him. I'd always supported his ambition, had encouraged him to take risks and put himself out there for opportunities. The promotion also meant working closely with a new team, including someone he started mentioning frequently. Her name was Vanessa. The first time he brought her up, we were having dinner at our favorite Thai place near our apartment. "So there's this woman on my team," he said casually, twirling pad thai around his fork. "Vanessa. She's brilliant. Probably the smartest person I've ever worked with." I smiled, genuinely pleased. "That's great. It's nice to have good colleagues." "She's more than just a good colleague," he continued. "I think she might be my work wife." He said it with a laugh, like it was a joke we were both in on. And I laughed too, because why wouldn't I? Work wife. It was a harmless term, wasn't it? Just office culture speak for a close professional friendship. "Your work wife?" I teased. "Should I be jealous?" "Of course not," he said, reaching across the table to squeeze my hand. You know you're the only wife I need. Vanessa's just someone who makes the long days bearable. We can vent to each other about difficult clients, finish each other's sentences in meetings, that kind of thing. Sounds like you found a good work partner, I said. The best, he agreed. And that was it. That was the moment I should have paid more attention, should have asked more questions, should have trusted my instincts instead of my desire to be the cool, understanding wife. But I didn't. I just took another bite of curry and changed the subject. Over the following months, Vanessa became a regular character in Marcus's work stories. He'd come home talking about how she'd handled a difficult client, or how they'd stayed late brainstorming campaign ideas, or how she'd brought him coffee exactly the way he liked it without him having to ask. At first, I liked hearing about her. It was nice that Marcus had found someone who understood the pressures of his job. I worked long hours too, and I knew how valuable it was to have an ally in the office trenches. But gradually, subtly, things began to shift. Marcus started checking his phone more frequently, not in an obvious way. Just little glances throughout the evening, a quick smile at something on his screen before tucking it away. When I asked who he was texting, he'd say, just work stuff in a tone that didn't invite follow-up questions. He started working later. Staying for after-work drinks with the team, he said. Vanessa would be there too, of course. Sometimes it was just the two of them, going over presentations or campaign strategies over dinner at restaurants I'd never heard of. You should come sometime, he offered once, but in a way that made it clear he didn't really mean it. Though you'd probably be bored. We just talk shop the whole time. I told myself I was fine with it. I trusted him. That was the whole point of marriage, wasn't it? Trust. But there were other signs, small things that individually meant nothing but together painted a picture I didn't want to see. He stopped telling me he loved me as often. Not that he never said it, but it went from multiple times a day to once before bed, spoken more out of habit than feeling. He became protective of his phone. Not in a suspicious way, I told myself. He just started keeping it face down on surfaces, or carrying it with him when he went to the bathroom, or clearing notifications before I could see who they were from. When I touched him, kissed him, tried to initiate intimacy, he'd often say he was tired. Work was stressful. He had an early meeting, maybe tomorrow night. Tomorrow night rarely came. Our conversations became shallower. We talked about practical things. Bills, groceries, whose turn it was to clean the cat litter. But we stopped talking about real things. Dreams, fears, hopes. The kind of conversations that make you feel connected to another person at the soul level. I'd try sometimes. I'd ask how he was really doing, what he was thinking about, if he was happy. He'd give me vague answers and change the subject. Or he'd turn it back on me, ask about my day, and then zone out while I answered. It was like living with a ghost of the man I married. He was physically present but emotionally absent, and the space between us grew wider every day. My friends noticed. My sister noticed. Even my mother, who barely paid attention to anything outside her book club and garden, asked during a phone call if everything was okay with Marcus. He just seems distant lately, she said carefully. He's stressed with work, I replied. The promotion came with a lot of pressure. Of course, she said, but I could hear the doubt in her voice. Just make sure you're taking care of yourself too, sweetheart. I should have listened to her. I should have listened to the alarm bells ringing in my own head. But I didn't. I kept telling myself everything was fine, that we were just going through a rough patch, that once this big campaign he was working on was finished, things would go back to normal. I was so desperate to believe that I ignored every single warning sign. The breaking point came on a Tuesday morning in March. I remember it was Tuesday because I had a meeting scheduled at 9 and I was running late. I remember it was March because the daffodils I'd planted in our window box were just starting to bloom. Funny how your brain holds on to these irrelevant details when everything else is falling apart. Marcus had gotten up before me, which wasn't unusual. He was always an early riser, liked to get in a workout before heading to the office. I could hear him in the bathroom, the sound of the shower running and him humming some song I didn't recognize. I was still in bed, scrolling through my own phone, trying to motivate myself to get up and start the day. That's when I heard it. A notification sound. But not from my phone. From his. His phone was on the nightstand on his side of the bed. He must have forgotten it when he got up to shower. In all our years together, I'd never once looked through his phone without permission. It had never even occurred to me to want to. But something about that notification sound made me turn my head. The screen was lit up. I could see it from where I lay on my side of the bed. A text message notification sitting there innocently on his lock screen. The contact name was Work Wife with a little briefcase emoji next to it. And the preview of the message read, "Good morning, love. Can't wait to see you today." I stared at those words for what felt like an eternity, but was probably only 3 or 4 seconds. My brain couldn't process what I was seeing. It was like trying to read a language I didn't speak, where the individual letters made sense, but the words were incomprehensible. "Good morning, love. Love. Can't wait to see you today." With a heart emoji, from his work wife. The shower was still running. I could still hear Marcus humming, oblivious, happy, content. I picked up his phone. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped it. My heart was hammering against my ribs like it was trying to escape my chest. My mouth had gone completely dry. The lock screen showed just that one message, but I knew his passcode. He'd never hidden it from me. It was our anniversary date. The irony of that wasn't lost on me. I unlocked the phone. I opened the message thread with Work Wife, and I read. The messages went back months. Hundreds of them. Thousands, maybe. An entire secret conversation that had been happening parallel to our marriage, invisible to me, hidden in plain sight. "Good morning, gorgeous. Thinking about you. Last night was incredible. I wish you were here right now. Can't stop replaying that moment in the conference room. You make me feel alive in ways I'd forgotten were possible. I know this is complicated, but I can't help how I feel about you. Soon we won't have to hide anymore." The messages were interspersed with photos. Her in professional attire, smiling at the camera in ways that were definitely not professional. Screenshots of romantic quotes and song lyrics. Emojis I'd never seen Marcus use with me. Hearts and kisses and winking faces. And his responses. My husband, the man who'd stood in front of our families and friends and promised to love only me, responding with equal enthusiasm. "You're all I think about. Being away from you is torture. I love you. I love you." To her, to Vanessa, to his work wife. My vision blurred. I couldn't tell if it was from tears or shock or the fact that I seemed to have forgotten how to breathe properly. My hands clutched his phone so tightly my knuckles went white. The shower shut off. Panic cut through the fog of shock. I fumbled with the phone, closed the messages, locked the screen, set it back on the nightstand exactly where it had been. I rolled back to my side of the bed and squeezed my eyes shut, pretending to still be asleep. I heard the bathroom door open, heard Marcus moving around the bedroom, getting dressed, probably checking his reflection in the mirror. Heard him pick up his phone. There was a pause. He must have seen the notification, read her message. I wondered if he was smiling. Then I felt him lean over me. Felt his lips brush my forehead in a kiss that now felt like poison. "Love you, Em," he whispered. "Have a good day." The bedroom door closed behind him. A minute later, I heard the front door open and shut. His car starting, driving away. I lay there in our bed, in the sheets we'd picked out together, in the bedroom we'd painted together, in the home we'd built together, and I felt something inside me shatter so completely I wasn't sure it could ever be put back together. He'd said he loved me. Right after reading a message from her that called him love. Right after months of saying he loved her too. The words were meaningless. Empty sounds. Lies. I don't know how long I stayed there. Long enough that I missed my 9 o'clock meeting. Long enough that my phone buzzed with concerned texts from my assistant. Long enough that the sun moved across the sky and changed the shadows in our bedroom. When I finally got up, I felt like I was moving underwater. Everything was slower, harder, like the air had turned to molasses. I got in the shower, standing under water hot enough to hurt, trying to wash off the feeling of his lips on my forehead. I got dressed mechanically, clothes that didn't match because I couldn't make my brain care. I called in sick to work. Then I sat at our kitchen table and tried to figure out what to do. Part of me wanted to call him immediately, to scream and cry and demand answers, to ask him how he could do this to me, to us, to everything we'd promised each other. Part of me wanted to pack a bag and leave before he got home, to disappear and let him figure out why, to never have to see his face again or hear more lies fall from his mouth. Part of me wanted to believe I'd misunderstood, that there was some explanation that would make this okay, that love was just a word they used casually, that the messages weren't what they seemed, that my husband wasn't having an affair with his work wife. But I'd seen the messages. I'd read his words. I'd felt the way my gut twisted with absolute certainty that this was exactly what it looked like. I decided to wait, to say nothing, to see what he would do when he came home. The day crawled by in a haze. I tried to eat and couldn't, tried to watch TV and couldn't focus, tried to call my sister and hung up before she answered because I didn't know what to say. How do you explain that your world ended because of a notification you weren't supposed to see? Marcus came home at his usual time, 6:15. I'd been watching the clock, watching each minute tick by, feeling sick with anticipation and dread. "Hey, babe," he called out as he came through the door. His voice was normal, cheerful even. "How was your day?" I was sitting on the couch, hands folded in my lap, staring at nothing. "It was fine," I heard myself say. "How was yours?" "Busy, you know how it is." He walked into the living room, loosening his tie. "I'm starving. Want me to order Thai food?" Thai food. Like this was any other Tuesday. Like he hadn't spent his day messaging another woman. Like he hadn't told her he loved her. "Actually, I need to talk to you about something," I said. Something in my tone made him stop, made him actually look at me for the first time since he'd walked in. "Okay," he said slowly. "What's up?" "Who's Vanessa to you, Marcus?" I watched his face carefully, watched the micro expressions that flickered across it before he controlled them. Surprise, guilt, calculation. "What do you mean?" he asked. "You know who she is. My colleague. Your work wife." "Right. I've told you about her." "Tell me again. What exactly does work wife mean to you?" He shifted his weight, uncomfortable now. "Emma, where is this coming from?" "Just answer the question." "She's someone I work closely with. We're friends. I don't understand what you're getting at." I stood up. My legs felt shaky, but I needed to be standing for this. Needed to be at eye level instead of looking up at him like a subordinate waiting for permission to speak. "I saw a message on your phone this morning," I said. The color drained from his face. "You went through my phone?" "No, I saw a notification. It was sitting right there on your nightstand. Good morning, love? From your work wife." The silence that followed was deafening. "That's not what it looks like," he finally said. I almost laughed. Almost. The absurdity of it. The predictability. The sheer unoriginality of that response. "Then what is it, Marcus? Please explain to me what it looks like. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like my husband is having an affair with his colleague and has been lying to me about it for months." "It's not an affair." "Then what is it?" "It's complicated. Uncomplicate it for me." He ran his hands through his hair, a gesture I'd once found endearing. Now it just looked like what it was. A man buying time to construct a lie. "Vanessa and I are close," he said carefully. "Maybe too close. But it's not physical. We've never slept together. You love her." It wasn't a question. I'd seen it in his messages, but I needed to hear him say it. "I care about her, yes. You told her you love her. I saw the messages, Marcus. All of them." His face hardened. If you saw the messages, then you went through my phone. You violated my privacy. The audacity of that statement momentarily left me speechless. Your privacy? I managed to get out. We're married. You've been carrying on an emotional affair right under my nose and you want to talk about privacy? It's not what you think. Stop saying that. Stop lying to me. For once in however many months this has been going on, just tell me the truth. Do you love her? The pause before he answered told me everything I needed to know. Yes, he said quietly. I do, but I love you too. You can't love us both. Why not? That question hung in the air between us. Why not? As if love was unlimited, as if betrayal didn't matter, as if hearts were large enough to hold multiple people without someone getting crushed in the process. Because that's not how marriage works, I said. You made vows to me. You promised to forsake all others. That was supposed to mean something. It does mean something. I haven't left you. I haven't asked for a divorce. Oh, how generous of you. Thank you so much for not divorcing me while you fall in love with someone else. He flinched at the sarcasm in my voice. Emma, I never meant for this to happen. But it did happen. So what now? You just keep both of us? Your real wife and your work wife? And I'm supposed to be okay with that? I don't know. I need time to figure things out. You need time. I heard my voice rising, felt hysteria building in my chest. You need time. What about me? What about what I need? What about our marriage? I'm trying to be honest with you. You're not being honest. Honest would have been telling me months ago that you were developing feelings for someone else. Honest would have been giving me a choice instead of making it for me. This isn't honesty, Marcus. This is damage control because you got caught. What do you want me to say? His voice was rising too now, frustration bleeding through. That I'm a terrible person? Fine, I'm a terrible person. But my feelings for Vanessa are real, and I can't just turn them off because they're inconvenient. Inconvenient. I repeated the word slowly. Our marriage is inconvenient to your affair. That's not what I meant. Then what did you mean? Please, help me understand how I'm supposed to react to my husband telling me he's in love with another woman but doesn't want to lose me either. What's the appropriate response to that, Marcus? He didn't answer. Just stood there looking miserable and cornered and like he wished he was anywhere but here having this conversation. I gave you everything, I said, and my voice broke. I supported your career. I moved across the country when you got your first big job. I put my own ambitions on hold so you could chase yours. I believed in you when you didn't believe in yourself. I was your partner in everything. And this is how you repay that. By falling in love with someone else and lying to me about it every single day. You're right, he said quietly. You're right about all of it. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. I know. Do you love me at all anymore? Or has that been a lie too? He looked at me then, really looked at me, and I saw something in his eyes that might have been regret. Or maybe just exhaustion. I do love you, he said. I'm just not sure I'm in love with you anymore. If the message that morning had cracked my heart, those words shattered it completely. When did that happen? I asked. When did you stop being in love with me? I don't know. Gradually. We got caught up in routines, in adulting, in bills and responsibilities and the day-to-day grind. And somewhere along the way, we stopped really seeing each other. Stopped making an effort. So this is my fault? No, that's not what I'm saying. Then what are you saying? I'm saying that relationships take work. And maybe we stopped working on ours. The infuriating thing was that there was a kernel of truth in what he said. We had gotten comfortable. Had stopped dating each other. Had let the romance fade into routine. But I thought that was normal. That after the honeymoon phase wore off, love became quieter, steadier. I thought we were building something solid, not letting something precious die from neglect. And even if we had stopped trying, that didn't give him the right to find someone new instead of fighting for us. So instead of talking to me about it, instead of suggesting we go to counseling or work on our marriage, you just found someone else. Someone exciting and new who doesn't know all your flaws yet. Someone who doesn't have to deal with your dirty socks on the floor or your tendency to leave cabinets open. Someone who only gets your best self while I get whatever's left over at the end of the day. Vanessa understands me. I understood you. I spent years learning every part of you, good and bad. I understood you when you were stressed about work or worried about your father's health or anxious about money. I understood you when you were happy or sad or angry or scared. I understood you, Marcus. You just stopped letting me. He looked away, unable to meet my eyes. What happens now? I asked. Do you want a divorce? Do you want to be with her instead of me? I don't know what I want. Well, you better figure it out, because I'm not doing this. I'm not sitting here waiting while you decide if you love me enough to stay married. I'm not competing for my own husband's attention with his work wife. Emma, no. You need to make a choice. Her or me. And you need to make it now. That's not fair. You can't just give me an ultimatum. Fair? You want to talk about fair? Is it fair that I trusted you completely while you were building a whole other relationship behind my back? Is it fair that I believed every lie about working late or team dinners or just being friends? Is it fair that I wake up one random Tuesday morning and discover my marriage is a lie? My voice was shaking now, tears streaming down my face even though I'd promised myself I wouldn't cry in front of him. You don't get to ask for fairness when you've been anything but fair to me. He reached for me, but I stepped back. Don't touch me. Please, Emma. I mean it. Don't. Just tell me what you want. Do you want to be with her? The pause before he answered was answer enough. Yes, he finally said. I think I do. The words landed like physical blows. Even though I'd known, even though I'd read the messages and heard him say he loved her, hearing him choose her over me was a different kind of pain entirely. Okay, I said, and my voice sounded strange even to my own ears. Too calm, too steady, like I was in shock. Okay then. Okay, what? You should pack a bag. Go stay with a friend or get a hotel room. I need you out of this apartment tonight. Emma, I'm not discussing this. You made your choice. Now I'm making mine. I want you out. Can we at least talk about this? Figure out the logistics? The logistics? I stared at him. Our marriage is ending and you want to talk about logistics? We own this place together. We have shared accounts. We can't just immediately separate everything. He was right, of course. Disentangling our lives would be complicated and messy and painful, but I couldn't think about that right now. Couldn't think past the need to get him out of my sight before I completely fell apart. We'll deal with all of that later. Right now, I just need you gone. He looked like he might argue, but something in my face must have convinced him not to. Okay, he said. I'll pack a bag. I watched him walk to our bedroom, heard him opening drawers and closets. Every sound felt like another small death. This was really happening. My marriage was really ending. He emerged 15 minutes later with a duffel bag slung over his shoulder. I'll come back this weekend for more of my things, he said, when you're not here. Fine. Emma, I really am sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. But you did hurt me. You broke me, and sorry doesn't change that. He nodded slowly. For what it's worth, you deserve better than this. Better than me. I know, I said. I always have. He left then, just walked out the door and out of my life, leaving me standing alone in our apartment surrounded by all the evidence of our life together. Wedding photos on the walls, books we'd read and shared, furniture we'd picked out together. A whole life that no longer existed. I sank to the floor and let myself fall apart. I cried until I couldn't breathe. Until my throat was raw and my eyes were swollen and my head throbbed. I cried for the man I thought I'd married. for the future I'd planned, for every promise that turned out to be a lie. I cried for myself, too, for the years I'd invested in someone who didn't value them, for the trust I'd given so freely and had destroyed so carelessly, for the woman I'd been that morning, secure in her marriage, who no longer existed. When I finally stopped crying, when there were simply no tears left, I got up. I washed my face. I made tea I didn't drink. I sat on the couch in the dark and stared at nothing. My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. "I'm sorry. I'll always love you, even if not in the way you deserve." I deleted it without responding. Another text. This one from a number I didn't recognize. I opened it cautiously. It was a photo. Vanessa and Marcus. At a restaurant. She was laughing at something, looking up at him with obvious adoration. He was smiling back, the expression one I recognized because it used to be reserved for me. The photo was captioned, "Finally free to be together." She'd sent it to me. His work wife had sent me a photo of herself with my husband, celebrating the end of my marriage. The pain of that, the cruelty, should have destroyed me, should have sent me back to the floor in hysterics. But instead, I felt something else. Something cold and clear and sharp. Anger. Not the hot, explosive kind. The cold, calculating kind. The kind that brings clarity instead of chaos. I looked at that photo for a long moment. Then I saved it. Not for me. For the divorce lawyer I'd be calling first thing in the morning. Because Marcus had made his choice. And now I was making mine. I was choosing myself. I was choosing dignity over desperation, self-respect over salvaging. A future where I wasn't competing for crumbs of attention from someone who'd proven himself unworthy of my love. Did it hurt? God, yes. It hurt more than I'd ever imagined possible. It felt like someone had reached into my chest and ripped out my heart while it was still beating. But I would survive this. I would rebuild. I would find a way to be whole again, even if the shape of that wholeness looked different than I'd planned. That night, sleeping alone in our bed for the first time in years, I made myself a promise. I would never again make myself small for someone else's comfort. Never again ignore red flags in the name of trust. Never again give my whole heart to someone who only wanted part of it. I would heal. It would take time and tears and probably therapy, but I would heal. And maybe someday I'd find someone who understood that work wife was just a joke, not a job description. Someone who came home to me every night and meant it when he said he loved me. Someone who chose me every single day, the way Marcus had promised to do and then forgot. Or maybe I wouldn't find that person. Maybe I'd be alone. And you know what? That would be okay too. Because anything was better than being with someone who made me feel alone even when we were in the same room. 3 months have passed since that Tuesday morning, since Good Morning Love changed everything. I've filed for divorce. The proceedings are messy and painful, exactly as I expected. Marcus and I communicate only through lawyers now. I'm fighting for my share of our assets, for the life I helped build, even if I won't get to live in it. I found out through mutual friends that he and Vanessa are officially together now, living in an apartment downtown, playing house, probably telling everyone their love story, conveniently editing out the part where it began as an affair. I heard also that her colleagues at work found out about the relationship, that HR had some concerns about the appropriateness of it, especially since Marcus was technically her supervisor. There were whispers about professional ethics and complaints about favoritism. Vanessa ended up leaving the company, or being encouraged to leave, depending on who you ask. Marcus got reprimanded, had to take an ethics training course, lost some respect among his colleagues who knew the situation. Their perfect love story turned out to be somewhat less perfect when exposed to sunlight and scrutiny. I wish I could say that gave me satisfaction, that their struggles made my pain less, but it doesn't work that way. Their relationship problems don't fix my broken heart. Their professional consequences don't undo the betrayal. Watching them suffer doesn't make me suffer less. I'm learning that healing isn't about revenge or justice or seeing the people who hurt you get what they deserve. It's about rebuilding yourself. Piece by piece, day by day. Learning to be okay with who you are without them. Some days I'm okay. I go to work, have lunch with friends, laugh at jokes, make plans for the future. I feel strong and independent and proud of myself for choosing dignity. Other days I'm not okay. I cry in the shower. I look at old photos. I remember the good times and wonder if they were ever real, or if I was loving a fiction the whole time. Both versions of me are valid. Both are part of healing. I started therapy. My therapist says I'm grieving, that the end of a marriage is like a death, that I need to give myself permission to feel everything without judgment. She also says I'm remarkably resilient, that walking away took strength, that many people stay in situations like mine, accepting crumbs, tolerating disrespect, convincing themselves that partial love is better than none. I'm proud that I didn't do that when faced with the choice between fighting for someone who didn't want to be fought for, or walking away with my self-respect intact, I chose myself. My sister asks if I have any regrets. Only one. I regret not trusting my instincts sooner. I regret explaining away the warning signs, making excuses for behavior that should have alarmed me, prioritizing trust over truth. But I don't regret the marriage itself. For a while, it was good. For a while, I was happy, and that matters, even if it ended badly. I don't regret loving Marcus. I just regret that he didn't love me the same way. Sometimes I wonder what I'd say to that version of me from 3 months ago. The one lying in bed, secure in her marriage, moments away from seeing that notification that would change everything. I think I'd tell her to trust herself more, to listen when her gut screams warnings, to remember that love shouldn't make you feel small or uncertain or like you're competing for attention. I'd tell her that she's stronger than she knows, that she'll survive what's coming, that on the other side of the worst pain she's ever experienced, there's a version of her who stands taller, who knows her worth, who won't settle for less than she deserves. I'd tell her that good morning love from someone who isn't your spouse isn't a joke or casual workplace banter. It's a red flag, a boundary crossed, a betrayal in progress. But mostly, I'd tell her that she's going to be okay. Not today. Not tomorrow. But eventually. And I'd tell her the truth that nobody wants to hear. Sometimes the person you love most in the world will hurt you in ways you never imagined possible. And you can do everything right, be everything they asked for, and they'll still choose someone else. That's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of theirs. Last week, I went on my first date since the separation. A guy from a friend's birthday party who asked for my number and actually called instead of just texting. We had coffee, talked for 2 hours about everything and nothing. It was nice, not earth-shattering, not the beginning of some great love story. Just nice, normal. 2 people getting to know each other without lies or hidden agendas or secret second lives. He asked if I was seeing anyone else. I laughed and said I was barely seeing him. This was just coffee. He smiled and said he hoped there'd be more than just coffee. Maybe dinner next time. I said maybe. And I meant it. Because I'm not ready to trust someone completely again. Maybe I won't be for a long time. Maybe I'll always keep a small part of myself protected, guarded, safe from people who might treat it carelessly. But I'm open to the possibility. Open to the idea that not everyone is Marcus. That not every love story ends in betrayal. That maybe, someday, I'll find someone who understands that marriage means something. That vows aren't just pretty words spoken in front of witnesses, but promises that should be kept even when they're hard. Someone who doesn't need a work wife because he has a real one at home who's more than enough. I'm also open to the possibility that I don't find that person. That I build a beautiful life alone, surrounded by friends and family and work I'm passionate about and hobbies that fulfill me. Either way, I'll be okay. Because the most important thing I've learned through all of this is that I don't need someone else to complete me. I'm not half a person waiting for my other half. I'm whole on my own. Marcus didn't break me. Not really. He broke my heart, shattered my trust, destroyed my faith in our specific relationship. But me, the core of who I am, That survived. I survived. And not just survived. I'm starting to thrive. I got a promotion at work, moved to a new apartment with more light and a balcony where I can grow herbs, started taking a pottery class on weekends, reconnected with friends I'd neglected during my marriage, traveled to places Marcus never wanted to visit. I'm building a life that's mine, not ours. Not compromised or negotiated or adjusted to fit someone else's needs and wants. Just mine. Is it perfect? No. There are lonely nights, moments when I see couples and feel the ache of what I lost. Times when I wonder if I could have done something differently, saved us somehow. But those moments are getting fewer and farther between. And when they come, I remind myself of that Tuesday morning, of the credit card notification, of good morning, love, and all the messages that followed, of the choice Marcus made. And I remember that I made a choice too. I chose not to beg. Not to fight for someone who didn't want to be fought for. Not to make myself smaller in the hopes of being enough for someone who'd already decided I wasn't. I chose myself, my dignity, my future. And every day, that choice feels more and more right. To everyone reading this who's going through something similar, who's discovered their partner's secret messages or hidden relationships or double lives, I want you to know something. You will survive this. It feels impossible right now. It feels like the pain will swallow you whole and never let go. It feels like you'll never trust anyone again, never love again, never feel whole again. But you will. One day you'll wake up and realize you didn't think about them first thing that morning. You'll laugh at a joke and mean it. You'll make plans for your future that excite you instead of terrify you. You'll see a happy couple and feel happy for them instead of bitter about what you lost. One day, this will just be a chapter in your story. A painful one, yes. A formative one that changed you, certainly. But just one chapter. Not the whole book. You are not defined by what someone else did to you. You are defined by how you responded, by the choices you made, by the strength you found when you thought you had none left. Choose yourself. Choose dignity. Choose a future where you're not settling for crumbs of love from someone who should be offering you the whole feast. You deserve better than a partner who needs a work wife or any other euphemism for emotional infidelity. You deserve someone who comes home to you every night with their whole heart. Someone who doesn't need to hide their phone or delete messages or lie about where they've been. You deserve someone who chooses you. Every single day. Without hesitation or doubt or the need for backup options. And if you can't find that person, that's okay too. Because you have yourself. And if you do the work, if you heal and grow and learn from this, yourself is pretty damn good company. As for Marcus and Vanessa, I don't know how their story ends. Maybe they'll make it. Maybe they'll realize they built their relationship on a foundation of lies and betrayal, and it will crumble under the weight of reality. Maybe they'll be happy. Maybe they'll hurt each other the way they hurt me and learn that people who cheat with you will eventually cheat on you. I don't know. And increasingly, I don't care. Their story isn't mine anymore. I'm writing my own now. This morning, I woke up to my alarm instead of a notification. I made coffee in my new apartment where everything is mine and nothing carries the weight of our failed marriage. I looked at my calendar and saw plans with friends, a date with pottery class, a weekend trip I'm taking alone because I want to. I looked in the mirror and saw a woman who survived betrayal and came out stronger. Who knows her worth now in a way she didn't before. Who won't accept less than she deserves ever again. And I smiled. Not because I'm glad my marriage ended. Not because I'm grateful for the pain, but because I'm proud of who I'm becoming in spite of it. 3 words changed my life. Good morning, love. But 3 other words are building my new one. I chose me. And every single day, that choice gets a little bit easier. To the woman reading this who's about to see a message that will break her heart, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for what's coming. But I promise you'll survive it. And on the other side, you'll find a strength you didn't know you had. To the man or woman who's sending those messages, who's building a relationship in the shadows, while someone at home trusts you completely. Stop. Just stop. If you're unhappy, be brave enough to leave honestly. Don't destroy someone's faith in love because you're too cowardly to face the truth. And to anyone who's ever been called a work wife or work husband, examine what that means, where the boundaries are, whether you're playing with fire that will burn more than just you. As for me, I'm done looking back, done wondering what if, done giving my energy to people who proved they didn't deserve it. I'm looking forward now, to the life I'm building, to the person I'm becoming, to the future that's mine to write. And if that future includes someone new who loves me the way I deserve to be loved, someone who doesn't need qualifiers or alternatives or backup plans, someone who sees me as enough, as more than enough, as everything, that would be beautiful. But if it doesn't, if I build this beautiful life alone, that would be beautiful too. Because I've learned the hard way that being alone is infinitely better than being with someone who makes you feel alone. I've learned that love without respect is just pain wearing a prettier name. I've learned that trust is precious and fragile and should only be given to people who understand what a gift it is. And I've learned that sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is walk away from someone who doesn't value what you bring to their life. Marcus taught me what I don't want, what I won't accept, what I deserve better than. And in a twisted way, maybe that's the greatest gift he could have given me. Not his love, which turned out to be conditional and shallow, but the lesson that I am strong enough to survive without it. I am whole without him. I am enough on my own. And no work wife, no affair, no betrayal can take that away from me. So thank you, Marcus. Thank you for showing me who you really are before I wasted any more years on you. Thank you for being careless enough to leave your phone where I could see it. Thank you for choosing her, because it forced me to finally choose myself. And thank you, Vanessa, for that photo. For being so eager to celebrate your victory that you showed me exactly who you both are. People who built their happiness on someone else's pain. People whose relationship will always be tainted by how it began. I hope you're happy together. I genuinely do. Because I'm going to be happy without you. I'm going to be happy on my own terms, in my own time, in my own way. And that happiness won't be built on lies or betrayal or the ruins of someone else's trust. It will be real. It will be mine. And it will be enough. 3 months ago, my marriage ended with 3 words on a phone screen. Today, my new life begins with 3 words in my heart. I chose me, and I'd make that choice again. Every single time.